I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are here. We are on time. We're feeling good. We are rested. We are ready to rock and roll. This is episode 614, Muncie City Council meeting. I cannot, even for the love of God, believe that I did that. I tell you guys, last night, I don't know. I was struggling with this. This date has, for some unknown reason, got me all kinds of sideways. So the meeting was on Monday, March 2nd. But because we didn't have the show last night, I knew we would be having it today. And I knew today was the 3rd, but the 3rd didn't make sense that it would be on a Tuesday. So I kept saying it was going to be on Wednesday the 3rd. And now I just noticed up here in the title, I have Muncie City Council meeting 3/3/26, but it wasn't 3/3/26. It was 3/2/26. That was the night of the meeting. Today's the recap. God, let me tell you, let me explain something to you. That's why I hate these damn titles. And I'll tell you, I was in there and I tried doing it and it just didn't look right. So I guess I got to stick with the titles. Forgive me. I'm not changing that date. I'm not changing it. I say I'm not going to, but I know I will. I'll go back and do it. I just hate it because it is what it is. I hate that so bad. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, listen, it doesn't matter if we got the date wrong. You know when it was. Last night, Monday, March 2nd, 2026, Muncie City Council meeting. Thank you for all that was saying. The speech was great. Listen, I don't prepare a speech. I watch person after 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 person go up there and read things off and look, you got to do what you got to do. I guess I don't roll like that. I speak from the heart. What I do is I go in with an idea of what I want to say. Like I want to talk about these 3 topics. I want to talk about the rules slash the rules. I want to talk about the issue with the emailing and the communication with the council, and I want to talk about Ridenauer, Tim Overton, and or Jeff Green lying, one of those three, or maybe all of them. I don't know. That's part one. Okay. Part two, I wanted to talk about Ordinance 6-26. So I knew I wanted to talk about that. And then the last part, I wanted to talk about Resolution 4-26. And so I know I want to talk about those points. And then in those points, I have specific issues I want to talk about. So I normally jot down like something. And then while I'm sitting there, I go over things and I listen to more things being said and I maybe jot stuff down. But when I get up, I just speak. And, maybe it's not as eloquent as some, but I feel like it's from the heart. It's something that I feel like is coming through me from, I don't know, maybe God lays it on my heart. Maybe I hear it and it's from the community or various people, but I speak from the heart. And I will tell you, and we're going to listen to all of this. We're going to listen, leave the number and date, remove the rest. Yeah, that'd be great. That's good. So no, the thing is, wait a minute. Were you being serious? Or were you saying leave it because it's screwed up? I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was a joke. Here's the deal. We're going to talk about this, but I'll tell you what, I got up there last night and that Jeff Green, here's the deal. I watch these people as they're speaking. Okay. Yeah. Listen, that's right. That's absolutely correct. Let me go back down here. If you read, you can't look the counselors in the eye when you speak. Oh yeah, that's the thing. Because when I speak to them, I want to look inside each of their souls. I want to look deep inside Jerry Dishman's eyes, and I want to look deep inside. It's kind of hard to look inside Sarah Gullion's head because it's always like rocking off of her shoulders, like, kind of going nuts. But I want to look at Jeff Green. And here's the thing. I noticed last night, I noticed this last meeting too, but Jeff Green never looks straight out. Now, I understand it's hard for you to see my eyes. In the new studio, it won't be like that. And I don't know what I'm going to have to do. I might have to start going back. Remember a long time ago, I used to wear sunglasses so you couldn't see my eyes, because a lot of times, like right there, I had my eyes open. My eyes are open. I've got really, one of my best assets are my eyes. I've got really pretty eyes. I'm not narcissistic, am I? But I had my eyes open. But a lot of times when I'm talking, I have my eyes closed because I'm thinking about what I want to say. When I'm on the show, I have my eyes closed and I talk with my eyes closed because I'm going through this in my head. And then I open up to see what you guys are saying. But I could tell that Jeff Green, even through his glasses, was not looking, doesn't ever look at the speaker. But he specifically doesn't look at me when I'm speaking, and I just cannot abide by that. And so last night, I had to treat him like a child. In the middle of talking, I just had to dress him down like, what? Is something wrong with you? Can you not look at me while I'm speaking to you? So, a couple people said, listen, I think it was great. I think last night was some of my best performance at the city council. One person said I was a little heavy-handed, and I said, yes, I was. Another person said that I didn't thank them for changing the rules back. Yeah. A lot of people said that I didn't thank them for changing the rules back. Listen, I'm just not going to do that. I cannot, for the life of me, ever get myself to thank somebody for doing something that they have had to have been browbeat to do for 3 or 4 or 5 months over and over and over and over, just doing the slightest bare minimum when they volunteered to do the job in the first place. Nobody asked them to. Nobody said, "Oh, good Lord, Jeff, please come up here and run. We need you. The city of Muncie needs you. Jerry Dishman, run for the 2000th time. You are needed to keep the city alive." Nobody said that. These people volunteered for this. They volunteered to be public servants, to serve the public. Now, if they really get up there and they start kicking ass and they're going above expectation, if they're really just knocking it out of the park and they are killing it on communication and they are keeping themselves accountable and they are open to accountability and they are transparent and they are making sure that people feel safe and secure and they're listening to people and they're communicating to people and they're not just doing a bunch of dumb crap, then maybe I can give them an attaboy every now and then. But I am never going to give you a gold star for just doing the bare minimum of your damn job. That's insane to me. And somebody says, well, you might get a little bit, you might get further, you get more bees with honey. Honey. The bees and the honey all dried up and died a long time ago. We are well past the cute niceties of these people doing just the very bare minimum and getting an attaboy for it. That's just that cannot and will not ever happen. So just FYI. That's that. So some of you, of course, most of you know what I'm talking about. Some of you probably are not familiar with what I'm talking about. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Muncie City Council meeting from last night. If you're watching this live, you're watching this at right now is 9:17 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. The Muncie City Council meeting was last night, Monday, March 2nd, 2026. And we're going to go through some of the meeting. I have a couple of points that I want to make. The meeting was very strange because there wasn't hardly anything on the agenda. The agenda was quick. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. But yet again, we didn't have this show. This show should have aired last night, but it didn't air last night because once again, for the second month in a row, the meeting took 3 hours. And everybody I've talked to today, I've said it's kind of funny that they changed the rules and they pissed everybody off. And so we had to hijack the meeting and spank them a little bit. And we did that last month. And I called for every night of the show, anytime I could talk about it afterwards. I said, listen, we really didn't get anywhere. They didn't come out and say anything. They didn't change anything back. All they did was take the address thing away. But other than that, everything remained the same. So we're going to have to do it again. We're going to have to do it again, maybe even longer. And I was thrilled, ladies and gentlemen, to tell you when I got there and I noticed that boom, bang, pow, it was standing room only, basically. I mean, the seats were full. It was crazy busy. Lots of people there. Now, I know that there was a good chunk of people there that was the class from Muncie Central. I always love when the class comes in. Whatever they talk about, right, wrong, if I agree or I disagree, whatever, I always love when they're there. I love to see them watching what's going on. I like to see their faces when it gets a little tense and things get a little like, ooh, you know, this is crazy. I always love that. I think it's great. I love watching them get excited. And I'm sure that there are people there that are like, yeah, okay, this is just another class. Let me do this and get out of here. I don't care. Last night was different because there were several students that stood up to speak at other times in the meeting. And I have to tell you, it doesn't matter if I agree with them, doesn't matter if I disagree with them, doesn't matter any of that. I loved that. And I spoke to a couple of the kids and I was like, kick ass, you know, keep coming to these meetings. You don't have to just come to these meetings because you're here for class. Have your parents bring you up here. Get involved. Come out. It's wonderful. I love it. I love it. I love it. And you know, what's interesting to me is I've talked to a couple of people today that said, okay, enough. It's time to get back to the meeting. And I'm like, what do you mean? This is the meeting. This was the meeting. You know, the one thing I have to say, and it's kind of funny, it's like now I need to give Jeff Green a hard time. I was going to concede that maybe the public comments being at the first of the meeting might be a good thing, because when we do that, at least Ridenhour and his administration has to sit there and listen to it. Because when it's at the end of the meeting, as soon as the agenda business is over, they're out the door. They're out the door because they don't give a shit what you or I have to say, and they're not going to sit around and listen to it. But they have to at the beginning. So, you know, I think a good thing that we could do is have public comment both at the beginning and at the end. And again, I'll say, if you speak on something at the beginning, you can't then speak on it at the end. You gotta speak on something different. You know, you don't want to get up twice and cover the same thing both at the beginning. You know, I get that, you know, we don't want to be there for 7 days and the business needs to get done. If you've said your piece at the beginning, you can speak on something different at the end if you so choose, but don't speak on the same thing at the beginning and the end. That would be crazy. But I think there could be a reason and a need for having public concerns at the beginning and the end. A lot of other places do it. To me, I think it makes sense. But that's a fight for another day, because let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, last night, the Muncie City Council meeting last night, there were ups and downs and ins and outs. Last night was a win for the citizens. Yes, Kate, you are 100% correct. Dan bolted right after the drone thing got tabled. Right after it. Boom, he was out of there. It didn't matter what else needed to be said or what was going on. He was out of there right when the drone thing was over. So, all right, we're going to go into this meeting. We're going to jump around. We're going to look at a couple different parts. If you have not watched this meeting, I would highly recommend you going back and you can watch it. You can watch it on my live feed. You can watch it here on this channel, The Political Spotlight. You can go back and watch last night's meeting. You can also watch it on the city's YouTube page. But if you're going to watch it on the city's YouTube page, just don't watch it on my page instead. You can also click around, find it on our Facebook channels and all of that stuff. So please watch it. It's a very good meeting, even if you don't live in the city of Muncie. It shows you how citizens do have the power, and that when they come together and they stand up and they speak out, that does have power, period. It does have power. So I want people to be aware of that. So before we get started in this, I please ask you to go and smash that like button. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you haven't done that. Subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Communicate with us. Share the show with everyone you know. And help spread the word. Okay? So this meeting, ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to see and hear the communication between Dan and Sloan. Oh, yeah. Listen, Sloan got a little pouty last night. He was definitely a little, very, very strange. Just what was going on there. So we're going to talk about all of that. So the meeting got started at 7 p.m. And I'll be honest, I didn't know what was going to happen. The meeting got started. I had sent out a couple emails to the council and spoke to them. Now, as we're going to be talking about this right here at the beginning, we're going to talk as if we don't know what happened in the meeting. So ahead of the meeting, I figured that we would have public comment at the beginning of the meeting and that nothing would really be changing with the rules. And I knew that we had the situation with Nora's ordinance 6-26. And I knew that we had resolution 4. And so I had sent out a couple of different emails to the council folk because I wanted to know like where we stood, because as far as the old rules were concerned, citizens would not have been able to speak at all about ordinance 6-26 or from my understanding, resolution 4. So the only thing we would have had a chance to do is speak during the public concerns. And so we would have had to gotten it all out there. And I sent an email to everybody saying, I have some concerns and questions ahead of the meeting. And I said, Muncie City Councilors, I am emailing you ahead of the meeting on March 2nd, 2026. Ahead of the meeting to raise a few concerns and ask a few questions. First, the new rules proposed by Councilor Green during the January 2026 meeting do not seem necessary at this point. After the January meeting, I was contacted by partisan political hack Tim Overton. Overton explained that the rules needed to be changed because the council meeting had been chaotic in the past due to the councilors' actions and behaviors. Overton went on to say that because of the councilors' actions and behaviors, 2 or 3 businesses had either decided to leave Muncie or not set up shop here, whichever way. I tried to follow up by requesting the names of the businesses and or the dates of the specific meetings, but Overton either didn't know or wouldn't provide them. I reached out to sources within City Hall, but none could offer any help. And then I became aware that Councilor Powell had emailed Mayor Ridenour asking for a meeting to discuss the issue. She had also brought that up at the February meeting when I was speaking. I would assume she meant either one-on-one, like herself with Dan, or maybe in an executive meeting with the entire council and Dan. I'm not really sure, but she did ask for a meeting. I just don't know which one she was going for. I'm assuming she would have been fine with either. But Mayor Ridenour sent her back an email telling her that he was only concerned with looking forward and that the meeting wasn't needed because things were going well. And matter of fact, he made no mention of the two businesses leaving Muncie or not setting up shop here. And it was a very peculiar email because he basically poo-pooed everything that political hack Tim Overton told me. And it was very interesting, very odd. And so I went on and said, given everyone's lack of concern about this issue, it seems the new rules are no longer needed. It would make sense to go back to how the council meetings have ran in the past. I want you all to consider this carefully, specifically Councilor Green. Please start tonight's meeting by stating that the council meetings will return to how they used to run before you took over as president. Now, look, I don't know why he decided to do this. I would like to hear some behind-the-scenes discussions on this, but I sent this to him and to all the rest of the 9 council members, to him and the other 8, at 8:21 yesterday morning. So did this email do it? Were there other emails? Did they not like the beating that they took last month? It's probably a combination of everything. Moving on, in the email I said, moving to the agenda for tonight's meeting, I have a couple of concerns. Ordinance 626. It needs to be passed. It's being brought up tonight, and apparently the only way to discuss it is it needs to be unanimously approved for discussion and a vote. Please do not attempt to stop citizens from taking part in this meeting, and specifically this discussion of Ordinance 6-26. Lastly, I'm highly concerned about Resolution 4-26. I have several questions about this resolution, and I know many other citizens have questions as well. Again, I am aware that Councilor Powell attempted to obtain answers from Police Chief Nate Sloan, but for some ridiculous reason, Chief Sloan did not respond. And at that time, he hadn't. He finally did later that day, but I'll get to that in a minute. If these questions cannot be answered, this resolution should be tabled. If not, it should be voted down. The bottom line is that until our questions are answered and the public feels secure about Resolution 4-26 or the drones in general, it should not move forward. If any of you have any thoughts or questions about anything I have said here, please feel free to contact me via email at yada 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 or by phone at yada yada yada. Also, I'm specifically asking again for Councilor Green to please call me today or this evening ahead of the 7 p.m. meeting. Councilor Green, please call me at yada yada yada. For all 9 of you, I appreciate your time and consideration on these concerns, and I hope you will take them seriously as you conduct the city's business tonight. And so that's what I sent them, okay? And when I sent them that, I received back 2 responses. I received a response from Rose Selvey, who says, "Good morning, Mr. Bilbrey. I just want to verify you that I received your email and I read it. I'm looking forward to a productive and orderly meeting, as do many." I don't know what that means. Okay, Ro, thank you. So, way to say nothing without saying nothing. You said literally nothing there. Councilor at Large McIntosh says, "Mr. Bilbrey, your questions and concerns are right on point with me personally. I would like to see them answered also, especially going back to the way the council meetings were ran before. Thank you." All right. Now, thank God that was an actual response. And listen, if he would have disagreed with me, if Roe would have disagreed with me, I would have maybe not liked it, but I would have been appreciative of her response. But to simply say, I'm in response of this is in response of your email. I have your questions. I've read them, and we are looking forward to a productive meeting. Yada yada yada. Nothing. So I get sick of that, of the political answer here. You know what I mean? These people act like they are in the United States Senate. You know, they're bigger. They think that they're bigger than what they truly are. It's like, dude, you're a Muncie City Councilor. Your job is to actually communicate. It's not to hide and obfuscate, you know, the truth by just staring blankly at me or being like, oh, look, I'm looking over you. You know, you are supposed to be communicating with and to and for and about us all over the place. And I just get so sick of it. So that's where we started going into the meeting. And so when the meeting started last night and Jeff started off with, I want to issue a statement about how the meeting is to run, I thought, uh-oh, here we go. He's about to say something really crazy and something I'm not gonna do well with.
And I mean,
so here the meeting's getting started. Okay.
it's okay this time.
Yeah.
We're gonna jump forward
Some may not
here.
stay till the end, and that is Muncie Central, the Color Guard, and the Drum Line.
We're gonna jump through all this.
I'm the secretary of the Opioid Fund Advisory Committee.
This is
I
important,
appreciate the
but we're gonna jump through this. They do the community, the boards, the committee reports, and all of that.
Yes.
Would it be possible for us to be able to put a link to their minutes and their agenda on our council page?
Can submit proposals.
Okay, they do all of
And
that.
also
That's
about
good.
Advisory Committee.
Good evening.
Yes, roll call. Some may not stay till the end, and that is to know that they appreciate it very much. And the second,
I pray. Amen.
as for those,
Okay, where are
Submittal
we
at the end
at?
of 20 Available only because of the law. Can submit proposals.
the address of the meeting is ordinance 6-26.
No.
See this take place. I do. Thank you very much.
Mr. President?
It's
Big Time
important.
Barbell does a great job with the
Forward and look forward.
It's important that we get this first part here.
recovery. And those are the organizations, and these available only because of the chief and addiction treatment recovery.
Advisory Committee,
Good evening.
reducing their numbers.
Present.
That will be in the Muncie Field House. To know that. We want you to know that Belinda has asked the motion passed. I would like to make
Here we go.
the statement before we get into the appointments of boards and commissions. We would like to say a thank you to the Muncie Fire Department and their honor guard for their former firefighters. It was very much appreciated by the Starks family. So we want them to know that. They appreciate it very much. Also would like to make a comment concerning the structure of the council meetings, the way that we have been doing things. We're going to change it again tonight, going back to the old former format. Public comment will be at the end of the meeting, 3 minutes. Will be given to
Hey,
each
see you,
person.
Alva.
Do want
There we
you
are.
to know that Belinda has asked that the list that Roe has for those that will be speaking, your name will be included into the minutes of the meeting at the end. So I want you to know that.
I don't know why he's saying that, because it always has been. I know that there are some meetings where they don't include public comments or the names of the speakers there, but Muncie hasn't been one of those. So I don't know if they have a plan to stop doing something. I don't know, but I'm going to find out why that was said, because that's never been an issue before. So if we're going back to how it's always been ran, then that was just always part of it. There was no need to say or to do that. That didn't make any sense. I'm not really sure why that was happening. So, okay, here we go.
We have one other thing I'd like to share because I know that some may not stay till the end, and that is Muncie Central, the Color Guard, and the
All
Drum
right, we're
Line.
going to move forward here,
Abby Carpenter.
and now we're going to get into the reading.
Well,
that were part of the journey of addiction and recovery.
Starting that
Okay.
off when Mayor Ridenhour. So wanted everybody to know.
Ordinance of the city of
Here we go.
Mr. President,
Yes.
can you make sure the doors are unlocked tonight? Because they're locked again, I think. Thank you.
I will say
They are locked, Chief.
I don't know anything about the doors being locked last night, but the
No
doors
ordinances
have been
previously
locked.
Introduced brings us to new ordinances.
The doors have been locked at a lot of meetings here lately, and they need to really, really, really get a hold on that and to fix that.
Ordinance 6-26.
Ordinance 6-26, an ordinance of the City of Muncie amending Section 32.39 of the City of Muncie Code of Ordinances, prerequisites to actions on ordinance resolution.
I have a motion to introduce.
So moved.
Second? Mr. McDuff. I think it was. Okay. Any public comment?
Okay, sorry.
This is for 626.
No.
Yeah, so my name's Seth Rawlings. I come in support of Ordinance 626. I mean, a lot of people, actually everybody ran for office at the city level in 2023 mentioned a idea of bringing transparency to city government, no matter really what it was. Part of this actually, the language of it's pretty much the most basic thing that you could probably provide. Like basically saying that if you have an ordinance that you put your name on, you are the one who personally signs for it. I just think it's a very basic thing. I mean, that's why like I would support you guys not only introducing tonight, but both introducing and getting it voted on tonight. And I think it's a really easy thing we can do for the community.
This is a big thing that everybody talked about. Like, look, I'm normally not for the suspension of the rules, and I'm okay with it taking its time. But we've been dealing with this, and we've been dealing with this for some time now. And it's like, okay, it's time to take, extreme measures to get this done. Let's rock and roll and get it over with. Okay. And I want to tell everybody just briefly before we move on. I know this has nothing to do with the city of Muncie, and I know that people dip in and dip out at different times. I want to put this out there for everybody that's here from Henry County or anybody out there that knows people from Henry County. I will be showing the leftover videos of the situation with Nick Gully tomorrow. The sheriff's department got a hold of me today and let me know that the videos are ready. I will be picking them up tomorrow. I've got to got to pay for it, got to do that whole thing again. But we will be showing those videos tomorrow. So we will be doing another episode on Nick Gully. We'll be showing the video from the visitation and the other things around that. So I just wanted to let everybody know that will be tomorrow. So be sure to tune in for that. All right, back to this. So I like what Seth's starting out with. That's a solid piece that he's saying there. Like, let's just vote on this and get it done. Now, understand, we, at this point, we're all under the assumption that it needed to be a unanimous vote, like before they even voted. Basically, what would happen is they would say, we're going to have the introduction, we're introduction of Ordinance 6-26. And when they did this, if it was not a unanimous vote, then it was done. There was nothing else to do because it needed to be a unanimous vote. That's what we were under the impression of. So that's why people are talking about this and saying that. So that's why.
It's a small way. This is a small win, but we need a lot. I think a lot of people with this in the past night. Thank you.
Okay. I get ready to come up here and I launch into
Bilbrey. We've been talking about this since September of last year. So you guys should have zero question about this. We talked about it for 2.5 hours last meeting, an hour and a half, something like that. There should be very little question that you guys have. If you guys, I'll be honest, if you have question at this point, it would be laughable and it would be ridiculous. It would be showing that you guys aren't doing your jobs if you have questions at this point. You have heard from the citizens since September of last year that this is something that the citizens overwhelmingly want.
And I want to say here, I said that we've been dealing with this since September of last year. And I want to be clear. I think that's kind of a little bit of a misspeak. The reason I said that is because we've been dealing with the issue since September of last year. We haven't been necessarily dealing with this ordinance. See, what happened was in September was when the first ordinance was put forward. And that was when Dale Basham was like, "Oh, I didn't know about this, so well, I'm gonna withdraw it." Okay, so that first happened in September. Then at the October meeting is when Ridenhour's team, Shireen Wagley, his mayor's ass, the mayor's assistant, when she put forward that that ordinance again without Basham's approval or apparently without his knowledge. So that's what happened. We found that out in October. Then in November is when Nora first brought the ordinance through, and it failed on introduction. Then it was brought up again, and it failed. It was introduced in December, but then it died in January because of the nonsense it was just total chaos that was going on. So we've been dealing with this really since November, but the issue got brought up in September, and so that's what I was meaning. That was kind of a misspeak, but it was the point of this all started in September, and so we've been kicking this can and kicking this can.
No more gameplay, no more adding weird amendments, because you could have all done that before tonight. So doing that tonight will be seen as what it is, gameplay that you guys are trying. And it's strange. Like, can you not look at me when I'm speaking to you? Do you not like me that much that you just will not look at me? That's very strange. Anyways, I'll continue on.
So, woo, that's kind of a heavy thing to say to like another adult. You know what I mean? Like, that's something, a teacher might say to a kid, you might say to your child. That's kind of a crazy thing to say to an adult, unless those adults work for you. Unless those adults are your subordinates. And so I'm saying, I'm up here talking to you. We're all up here talking to you. I don't think that you ought to be looking around the room like you're waiting for the bell to ring to run out of class. I will give him credit. When I said it, he took his glasses off and he stopped looking to the back of the room, and he looked right at me, and he looked at me from that point forward. And to my knowledge, from what I think I saw, he looked at every other speaker the rest of the night. Absolutely. It's sad when an old ethics board member gets up and called out Dan's actions. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you right now, he and Dan used to be pretty cool. You know what I mean? Some of the teens in the audience seem to get a kick out of it, as well as several of the adults. A lot of smirking going on. Oh, yeah. And there's clapping that they do at the end. And for every time that you hear clapping in the audience, either if it's for me or somebody else, it's always louder in real life than it is on the video. And so I really like that, whether we all are on the same side or different sides or whatever, I felt like the last couple of meetings, everybody really supported each other getting up to speak, and I really appreciate that.
Just vote for this thing. What I would like for you to do is to unanimously speak to vote for it, suspend the rules, and pass this thing tonight. Get this thing passed tonight so we can be done with it. If you vote against this, whoever votes against this, it will be overwhelmingly speaking that you are against what your constituents want, and you might as well just speak up and say, look, we do not want or care what you think. So please vote for this, pass this, and let's get it over, suspend the rules, and let's be done with it tonight. Thank you.
And I love this lady.
Hi,
whoever
my name
she
is Ellen Whitehead. I am a Muncie resident, and my views do not represent those of my employer. I want to voice my strong support of Ordinance 626. As I've stated during discussions of previous versions of this ordinance, I think this is a common sense change to the procedures for filing ordinance, and a vote against this ordinance.
Oh, I talked to Ricky like that. Rick has Rick's had an ass full of me before several times. Couple different times Rick and I have battled things out.
Represents a vote against transparency and against a clear public position on this topic. In fact, in preparation for my comments today, I reviewed council meeting minutes and recordings across the past several months. I found a total of 38 separate instances, 41 including the 3 comments tonight, in which your constituents voiced their support for this ordinance or spoke against making any substantive changes to it. And I know that council members have also received numerous emails in support. In contrast, I was not able to find a single time in which a member of the public spoke directly against this ordinance. Although I recognize that I am not privy to the content of all emails received by council members, the pattern of support seems clear. My hope.
Listen, I don't know another time. I think even the whale sustainable product, I think that there were people in the city, in the community, a couple, 1 or 2 that spoke in favor of it. I can't tell you another time when everybody that spoke over the course of 2, 3, 4 meetings all were in agreement on an issue. And I'll be honest, it's really been a couple of issues. One, the issue with the rules of the meeting. There was nobody that got up and said, yep, this needs to be happening. Everybody's been out of control and you really need to yank them under control. To my knowledge, I think if I'm wrong, correct me. And then this issue, none of the citizens ever reached out and was like, yeah, it makes sense. This should not happen. If there would have been one person that would have done it, I could understand maybe a counselor saying, well, I'm representing that guy too, and maybe not. But everybody was for it. Some Facebook comments about that, but I don't think anyone spoke at the meeting. Yeah.
Is that all council members will demonstrate that they respect the opinions of their constituents by voting in support of Ordinance 626. I especially want to emphasize that I hope the council votes in support of the ordinance as written moving forward, as throughout all of the public conversations of this ordinance, I have not heard a single perspective from a constituent that would call for any substantive amendments. This issue is not a minor procedural matter. Instead, transparency is a core democratic principle. Voters care deeply about this, and they will remember how their elected officials respond. I encourage the council to take their opinions of their constituents seriously. Thank you.
Love it. I 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 love it. All right. And so the next several people all speak in favor of this. Everybody's saying the same thing.
That muddy the waters.
Now, I really want you to listen to this. Listen to this. This is Chip Taylor, and he and I have not always agreed. Honestly, we disagree on quite a bit because of, I believe, his political leanings. That being said, I do appreciate the fact that he, although I believe he's more liberal leaning, he does have a very strong understanding of the Constitution and the things that need to be steadfast and the things that we need to agree on, even though we might be opposite sides. And I very, very much agree with literally everything that he says here.
Good evening. Chip Taylor, Muncie resident. Speak only on behalf of myself. So like he says, I want to encourage the council to vote to introduce Ordinance 626. My understanding of the rules are require unanimous vote. It's an extraordinary measure. I hope you'll do it for 3 reasons. Although this issue has been placed on the agenda 3 times for introduction and discussed extensively, there hasn't been really a lot of discussion about the underlying issue. The second thing is, I believe the council members oppose this change in procedure overlooking a short-term aspect of its benefits. And the third thing, I also think there are longer-term aspects. So the first time this ordinance was on the agenda, it failed on introduction. Most of the discussion centered around like sort of who did what when the resolution got withdrawn, and then it was withdrawn and then refiled without the sponsoring council members' knowledge. That's an important issue, but I'm not sure ordinance introduction is the best venue for the council to do that sort of fact finding. You have other capabilities. The second time it was on the agenda, some others said it was introduced, but the discussion.
Yes, I love that he brought that up. You have other avenues in which you can do fact-finding missions. I bring this up all the time. The council has the ability to investigate and to do investigative work and to call meetings to do that and to compel witnesses to speak, to subpoena witnesses if they must, and they never use it. And there are plenty of times and plenty of opportunities where they could, but they never use it. And so I'm glad that he said this.
Adoption was kind of derailed by some perhaps well-meaning but seriously flawed amendments.
That's right, Admiral.
So I appreciate, Councilman Powell, I appreciate your determination bringing this forward a third time. I'll admit I'm not optimistic. My sense is that your Republican colleagues on the council have no appetite for casting a vote that would be construed as a rebuke to the mayor for his improper intrusion into council business earlier.
Yes.
But I would say the Republican members, if you kind of broaden your perspective a little bit, I think you realize Ms. Powell is possibly doing you a favor.
Yes.
Let me say this first. I don't think the mayor will do this again. I don't know why he would want to have another blow up like this a second time. As Mitch McConnell says, there's no education, the second kick of a mule, right? But I can't say that for sure. I'm neither a mind reader nor a fortune teller. I'll make this prediction with absolute confidence, though. If he were to do it again, he won't do it to one of the Democrats on the council, because he knows they'll holler. If he were to do it again, he'll do it to one of the Republicans like he did last time. You deserve better than that. Councilman Basham, you deserved better than that. But I don't think considering our current political environment is even the right way to look at it. There's a long-term issue at play. Collectively, the 9 of you constitute, the Muncie Common Council, which is one of the 2 key, political institutions that govern the city of Muncie. Of course, the other key institution is the office of the mayor, right? And each institution has its own roles to play in governance. You share power, okay, but they're separate powers, and you influence each other through a system of checks and balances and persuasion, not coercion.
Yes.
Your powers are separate and distinct, okay? And this is actually described in state law. It's not just the opinion of one cranky retired
That's right, Joe.
Right? That provision may have been written by a cranky retired political science professor, but it's in there. It has no teeth. It's more of a statement of principle. So one of your jobs as a council is protect the integrity of your institution. What the mayor did violated that integrity. Let's not mince words about it. Okay, it was wrong. And if we know anything about the violation of norms.
Listen, this ordinance needed passed because it's just common sense. But above and beyond the common sense, the ordinance needed passed because it, in passing, was an absolute, it was the council rebuking what Mayor Ridenour and Shireen Wagley did. Right, wrong, or indifferent, whether they did it with ill intent or just it was like a whoopsie, it's still wrong. Listen, if you're driving down the road and you're doing the speed limit and you think, man, I'm getting a little late and there's nothing coming and it's clear, the road's clear, and you kick it up and you start going 10 or 15 miles over the speed limit, and God forbid a person walks out in front of you and you can't stop and you hit and kill that person. You had no intention of killing that person, but it still wasn't good. It still was wrong that that person was killed. It might have been an accident, but there's a possibility that you could face charges for that. I don't know, and I'm not going to act like I do, if they did this on purpose or not when they did it. If they were trying to get over on people, if they were trying to get over on the council, if they were trying to get over on Basham. All I know is it happened, and right, wrong, or indifferent for whatever reason, what I can tell you is those actions, it was wrong, and so it needs to be called out, and it never has been. And every time they were able to kick this away and to end it, it was everybody saying, okay, no, they're okay. In voting for this, this was the council finally rebuking the actions of the administration.
It's that once someone violates a norm, it makes it easier for someone else to violate it later.
Yeah. And that's right.
When you meet that intrusion with
Kate says Dan tried to do a run around the council again. That's the long and short of it. That is not his job. It's not his job, but it's something that he does a lot. And so while he might not do this, it seems like Dan tries all of these different tricks to do things like this. He does this frequently. He tries to get around going to the council and doing all of that. That's something that he's been doing since before he was mayor. And you might say, well, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Well, I will remind everybody of the whole big Muncie Fire Department, Muncie fire-based EMS debacle, where, is the city of Muncie going to make an EMS program? Are they going to run it? Are they not going to run it? Ooh, Dennis Tyler didn't go to the council. He went to the Board of Works, and that's bad. That's a problem. He shouldn't have done that. He was going around the council. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, and this is something that I've said from quite a long time ago, and I have absolute proof of this. I have talked to the absolute people involved, Eddie Bell. I've talked to Rachel Clark, and these individuals have said that Ridenauer was the one that told Eddie Bell to take it in front of the Board of Works and not the council. And that's the reason that Bell did it. And Ridenauer skated on all of that. No one said anything to him. Everybody blamed Dennis Tyler, yada, yada, yada. But it was, in fact, Dan Ridenauer who told Bell to take that whole idea to the Board of Works rather than the council. So this is something that Dan has been dealing with since even before he was mayor, back when he was on the council. And to be clear, the reason he did that was he didn't want to vote on it because he was running for mayor and he didn't want to have to come down one way or the other on that. So that's the reason he told Eddie to do that. It was kind of like a twofold victory for Dan. One, he didn't have to vote on it during his election, so he didn't have to take a stand, and that's just how he is. And number two, if it went there and if it went through or didn't go through, then people would blame Dennis. And even though he wasn't running against Dennis, he could say, well, I'll do things differently, even though that we've seen since day one in office, he's just never done things differently.
A collective shrug, like it doesn't matter. Or even worse, an invitation to the administration to offer them like a veto over what you're even allowed to discuss.
Yeah.
You're not protecting the institution. You need to protect the institution. That's why you need to protect this measure. You need to pass this measure. It's not because of him necessarily. It's because of the next person that might try and do something like that.
Yes.
As I said, it's common sense change. So I encourage you to vote for it tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderfully said. Okay, we move on.
But I do think I represent a lot of the
several more citizens spoke.
Body than there was elected ones because I kept quitting. Yeah, you have the right to sit there and tell us. I went back 8 years.
I love this person speaking here. Here's Cameron Grubbs. Cameron Grubbs says his piece. Listen to this lady.
Hi, my name's Kim Whitlock. I'm a citizen of Muncie, and I'm staying up past my bedtime tonight to talk to you. The fact that I have to come here on a cold winter night to ask my city council to be transparent with me is absolutely asinine ridiculous. Listen to how that sounds. You are voted in to represent the constituents of Muncie who elected you. What are you planning to do up there that you don't want to be transparent with us? That's the question. And
that
see
is the question
here tonight. It's a room full of people used to burning the candle at both ends. And if you do not do the right thing tonight by voting yes on this, we will all work hard to make sure you never sit up there again.
Oh. Dude.
Good evening, Melinda Messini, a resident of Muncie. I speak not
than anybody.
Listen here. Now listen here. Listen. I don't know if you're out there, Wayne. I don't know if you're watching. I know that you watch from time to time. I know that sometimes you watch later, whatever. Wayne, you're running for council in 2 years, right? You're running for council, right? Like you are running. I don't know if I'm asking or I'm telling, but I'm just letting you know you're running for council in 2 years. I back you. I don't know if it's I don't know where you are in the city. So I don't know if you're in District 5 or District 6 or if you're running at large. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I back you 100%. I don't know if you're a Republican or you're a Democrat or what the deal is. I don't care. God, you got to run, bro. I want you to run. I love your input. I don't know, dude. I could be okay having him on the show. Like, he would be a good, fun guy to be like a co-host. Like, I love Wayne. I think Wayne Scaife is absolutely amazing.
Wayne Scaife. I left the last meeting early last month, and I'm glad I did. I ended up watching it the next day. I probably watched it 3 or 4 times. And I have to say, of all the city council meetings that I've been to or seen, that was by far the worst.
Yes.
Some of you I know of, but that meeting made you guys look incompetent.
Yes.
That was horrible. Yeah. That was absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
The problem I have with that meeting, when this issue came up in November, the mayor stood here and answered all the questions. He wasn't even involved. 2 people that were involved never said a word. Mr. Basham, you sit there and didn't give any kind of input, and you were in the middle of all of this. But last month, you did more talking than everybody up there to muddy the waters on this issue than anybody. I didn't get it. When we needed your answers was in November.
Yeah.
We didn't need all that nonsense last month. All these amendments, and you just took over the whole thing to just mess this whole thing up. And basically you caused it and you messed the whole thing up. I really don't understand how some of this stuff works up here. I don't understand how some of you guys think. I don't know if you're just so partisan, playing partisan politics so bad that you just say screw everybody else.
Yes.
Mr. Dishman.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes.
During those debates, you did not participate in anything. But the first time you spoke was to end the debate. That's amazing to me. I'm gonna say that again. You did not participate in the debates, but you wanted to end the debate. So couldn't nobody else say anything. And I really don't get you guys. I really don't. This is by far the worst I've seen. So this ordinance right here, remember 2019, the mayor ran on transparency. When, I mean, he says transparency so many times at those not caucuses, those debates and meetings that, I mean, it should be still ringing in your ears. So when it's time for us to deal with it, you guys want to do something else. This is all about transparency, nothing else. So tonight, no amendments. There should be no discussion, no amendments, and we also need to suspend the rules. Vote on this thing tonight. This has been going on since, like Bilbrey said, September. Let's get this mess over with. Suspend the rules. Let's vote on this thing tonight and end all this. Thank you.
I love it.
Audie Barber, citizen of Muncie. I've been coming up here for quite a few years. We've seen a lot of new faces up here the last few months over this ordinance. I think maybe you guys need to take into consideration the new faces you have seen and realize that I speak for the citizens out there. I may not be the only one tonight. I may be the only one next month. But when you got people calling you and say, hey, we need your help, speak up for us, because they don't have the courage, or they don't have the.
I get what he's saying. I wish he wouldn't have said courage, because people, it's not a courage thing. Sometimes people aren't good at speaking. That's not their thing. I always say people have to play to their weakness or their strengths and their weaknesses. You got to play to your strengths, and some people's strengths aren't getting up and speaking. Some people have that ability, but they're working. So those people reach out to myself. They call Kate. They reach out to Audie. They contact other Republicans, Democrats. They contact Cameron Grubbs. They talk to, whether you like him or you don't like him, or you agree or don't agree. They contact Rick Inser. They talk to Elizabeth Edgell. They're talking to Seth Rawlings and the woman that got up and spoke, and anybody and everybody else. You know, the woman that got up a minute ago and said, I came in here on this cold night, it's past my bedtime, you guys are my council members. I don't know her. I don't know where she came from. I've never seen her before in my life. This is probably the first time she's ever been to the council meeting. Maybe I'm wrong. If I am, I apologize. But what I would love to hope is that she has never been here before. She's never been here before. But she heard about this, however she heard about it. She watched the show. She listened to somebody else. She read Rick's report on it. She read the Post Democrats report on it, or somebody, somehow. And she decided to come into City Hall for the first time ever. And she felt confident enough in saying, you are my city council, because that's the way it has to be. There are people that aren't political that have never been involved, but when they come in and speak, they have as much right there as I do, and they have as much, you know, they are a citizen just the same, and they carry as much weight as someone that's been going there for 30 years. And I love it. I love what she said, because that shows you don't have to be somebody that comes up here meeting after meeting after meeting. If something pisses you off, or if you're happy about something, or if you've got something to say, you do what you got to do. You grab supper on the road up, and you go to the meeting, and you sit for a couple of hours, and you say your piece. I love it. So he said courage. I don't think he meant that as a slam. I know what he means, but I kind of recoiled when he said that word, but it's Audie.
You know, whatever it takes to get up here and talk to you guys.
Yeah, she kicked
but
ass.
You've seen a lot of new faces up here.
And he's right.
We used all the amendments last month. No more amendments.
Yep,
Let's just vote on this thing. I'm the last person in line, I think. Let's just vote on this thing. Suspend the minutes. Vote on it again. And you don't have to face it no more. We don't need no auto pen for you guys. You guys can all sign your own amendments. You can sign your own paperwork. And if you can't, I'll get you a paper that we can put an auto pen to and let you resign your office. So just please do your job. Thank you.
Whoa, I love it.
Yes. Council.
Yes. I wanted to address something that was said. Yes, this ordinance 6-26 does reflect some of the input from the clerk's office, and that the ordinances will have all the graphs and documents when filed. But I also wanted to address something that Dr. Taylor and Mr. Franklin said, and that is I would like to ask our attorney for a point of clarity. They both had mentioned the unanimous vote, which when we first discussed this, that was discussed. But could you step to the mic and talk about the fact, do you feel that this requires a unanimous vote, or do you feel like ordinance 6-26 is different than ordinance 3-26 that was defeated?
Yep. So a couple comments on that. A couple of spectators, you're right. The Muncie ordinance does include a provision that says a defeated ordinance has to, if it's brought back up within a calendar year, it has to be approved by unanimous consent. When I approved this as to form, it was not my opinion that this needed to have unanimous consent. That's because we're not comparing 326 to 626. We're comparing 326 as amended to 626, and 326 as amended included the controller. So there's a substantive change there. I think it has a big change on the legal effect of the amendment that was passed at the last meeting. And then there is also an additional requirement on the filer that was just brought up. And so in my opinion, I don't believe that this requires a unanimous consent. I think it goes to a simple majority, and that's why.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's right, Admiral. That was big. What just happened there, because he is a Republican pick for the council attorney. He's there in what they're hoping to do the bidding of the Republicans, and I got to hand it to him. He did the right thing right there. You know, you could give that same situation to 10 different attorneys, and they could give you 10 different answers. He could have spun it the right way. So I will give Mr. Arnold a round of applause for him stepping up to the podium and doing what I believe to be the right thing. So now this, at this point, no longer needs a unanimous vote. And when I heard that, I thought, oh shit, this is going to pass. I really thought that Dishman, Basham, and Garrett would vote against it, and I thought everybody else would vote in favor. I really thought that those three would be the holdouts, but I thought everybody else would pass it. Let's hear what happens.
I just want to make
Got a
one other
follow-up question?
just one other comment that and in trying to compromise and collaborate last month, Councilperson Selvey said she wished there were more dialogue. When I filed this, I reached out to all my colleagues and explained that I was filing it. I asked if there were concerns or questions regarding Ordinance 626, and I received none. So
No one got back with her. She received no
compromise and include everyone's suggestions and still keep the intent of the original 40-25. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Yep.
What was Roe talking about there? Shut up, Roe.
Yes.
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 9 yeses. So it passed introduction. Passed introduction. Now, legally, they would have to come back next meeting in April and pass it, unless they do something different.
Mr. President?
Yes.
In listening to many of my constituents that are in the audience and spoke, I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 626 this evening.
Second.
Get that, Belinda?
Who was the second? Mr. Mason.
Mr. Mason.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Yes.
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 Now, if one person voted no to suspending the rules, then it would be dead. And then basically what would happen is it would just come back next month in April, and it would have to be voted on then. And I didn't know how that would go. Again, I thought at this point, okay, they introduced it, but Dishman or Garrett or Basham could say no, any one of them or all of them.
Yes.
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 It passed the suspension 9-0. And when that happened, I thought, holy shit, this is going to pass. This is going to pass. Why is Roe clapping? That's a good question. I'd like to ask her. I'd like her to give me a solid answer. Roe, when you hear this, when you see this, listen, what Roe says is Roe always says, I've got people that call me and tell me. I don't think it's that. I think she listens. And so either way, Roe, you and I are friends. I've been very questionable. I've had a lot of things that I've questioned about what you've been doing over the last couple of months. And it seems for whatever reason, like you won't just shoot me straight. I wish you would. I'm going to try to find out if you will. I'm going to try to contact you and find out. But yeah, very strange.
Moving on to ordinance 7-26.
Ordinance 7-26, an ordinance of the City of Muncie amending Chapter 93 of the City of Muncie Code of Ordinances.
No,
We have somebody here to speak. on
they've got to
this,
vote.
Roe?
We didn't move to it. No.
Oh, I thought-
See, this is what's so strange. And everyone says, well, it was the Democrats when they were in control, when McIntosh or Dishman was in control, it was crazy. But now we've got Green, and he doesn't know. They don't follow anything. They don't know what's going on. He's just as confused as everybody else.
We did.
No, we suspended the rules. but we
I
didn't-
apologize.
Oh, just a second, we'll go back. Yeah. I was like, we didn't talk. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's just
We
a
have a
minute.
motion to adopt.
So moved. Ordinance 6-26, so moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Yes.
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 Officially, with that vote, 9-0, that ordinance passed. It was amazing. All right, they get ready to go on to
Now
ordinance
moving to
7-26,
ordinance 7-26.
which is just taking Beech Grove Cemetery Board down from 5 or 7 members down to from 7 members to from either 7 members to 5 members or 5 members to 3 members. It's not something I'm really big on. I'm sure there are people out there that care. If you're interested, go back and watch it, but we're going to skip forward.
Basically handle that.
Yeah, right. Well, he needed to be there for the drone thing.
And then
extremely busy intersection.
Okay.
True Jets.
Create a
I do not want
Side
to.
of
I'm
Walnut
going to
Street
get. I'm not. We're not going to listen to all of this just because it's so long. But I don't want to just completely blow over these kids because I think what they're doing is cool. So every year, every semester, I guess it's every semester because it's twice. I think she does it in the spring and in the fall. But every year, at least once a year, maybe twice a year, this teacher from Muncie Central brings her government class to City Hall. And they observe a couple of meetings, for a couple of months. And then at some point, they put together an ordinance or a resolution to do something. And a lot of times, I'll be honest, it's really cool. It's a neat experience for them, but it's kind of like, okay, it's like a resolution. It doesn't really, it's like, we're going to name this part of the road, this or that. And it's like, okay, cool. But yeah, whatever. What these kids did, what these kids came up with will be here for the rest of their lives. When they're 60 years old and they drive, if it comes to fruition and it's put up, they'll be able to drive through the intersection when they're 70 years old and be like, hey, I was involved with this. So that's really cool. So basically what they're doing is they're saying the street in front of Muncie Central, which is Walnut, a major thoroughfare for Muncie, specifically in the morning and then again in the afternoon. So both going into school and coming out of school, it's very busy area. And so what they're saying is they want to put a scramble light at one area and put sidewalks on another area and make it more safe for students, teachers, people, just regular citizens coming and going from around Central and around that neighborhood and doing all of that. So this was pretty cool what they did.
Front of Muncie Central High School, and for the removal of street parking
Yes.
in favor of a left turn lane into Central's parking lot at the intersection of Maple Street and Walnut Street.
Motion to introduce resolution 3.
I'm sorry.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Did you get that?
Val.
Okay.
Yeah.
Val and McIntosh? Yeah. Okay.
We ready?
Yes, we're ready.
Hi, Julie Snyder. Good evening. As you guys know, we try to do this every year. First semester, my AP government class comes to some meetings to observe what you guys do, and we talk about it in class. Even though the class focuses on federal government, I really like for them to come and watch what you guys do on the local level. Similar to federal level, but I just think it pertains to them so much more. So we've been doing this for a couple years. So this semester, their job was to create a resolution to try to pass here tonight. So thank you, Councilwoman Billion and Hal for coming and helping them, because they gave them lots of guidance on how to write it. Because that's probably the hardest part, is trying to figure out how to word this. So they did this on their own. Very little help from me. So if you don't mind, they're going to repeat that part and then read the rest of the resolution. I think I'm going to have them introduce themselves first, if you don't care, and then I'll read it. Basically, they're all seniors.
All right.
I am Damian
So basically,
Jones.
they go through
of the AP government class of Muncie Central.
I'm Sayla Derby.
I'm Clayton Dick.
My name is Dorian Freyer. I'm Lexi Dotts.
I am Alex Navarro-Cortez.
I'm Chloe Mullen.
I'm Andrew Jett. I'm Arthur Camargo.
My name is Cone Rivers. I'm Gabriel Novak.
Haley Rollins.
Rixie Christofield.
Xavier Wallace.
So in this case, our proposal is a proposal for a special resolution to install a pedestrian scramble light at the intersection of Myrtle and Walnut Street. The installment of crosswalks at the intersection of Maple and Walnut with yielded pedestrian signs. The installment of sidewalks to the west side of Walnut in front of Muncie Central High School, and the removal of street parking in that area in favor of a left turn lane into Muncie Central's parking lot at the Maple and Walnut intersection.
we're just going to read through our proposal. So, whereas the city of Muncie values infrastructure,
Yeah,
Muncie has
that's
already
right.
supported changes to create a safer
That's right,
environment for the
Elfoot.
constituents of our community.
So they
Whereas
read
these
through
changes
that.
are
They read through it.
by
They
44%.
they have a lot of information. I mean, you know, their teacher helped them when the council asked for things. They worked together, and one of them's like, "Wait a minute, I've got that. No, I've got that." They looked through their paperwork and they presented it, and they did a great job.
By removing stopped vehicles from through traffic, adding a left turning or
They did
adding
a
a left
great
turning lane.
job.
Also
Yeah, I
increases
was
the
very
roadway capacity by
impressed.
25%.
It's like a certain type of scramblite
Yeah,
that we
that's where they're
included in
looking
there.
through. I love it.
that
I
accounts
love what
for
these kids did.
disabilities.
Tell me where in the resolution?
Yeah, I'm looking.
I mean, we're going on a while combining high schools.
Mm-hmm.
All the statistics, but the biggest one that gets me, we have one high school in the city.
They did a great job.
Have a motion to introduce resolution 4-26. Oh, you haven't read it yet. Sorry, get ahead of it.
Common Council Resolution 4-26.
Okay, so they voted on it and it passed. Now we're going into the resolution. Okay, and this is the drone resolution.
Common Council of the City of Muncie, Indiana, resolution approving interlocal agreement for the housing and operating of a municipal drone base.
Motion to introduce
A municipal.
resolution.
A municipal drone. every time I hear her say that, I love it. I love it, and I laugh a little bit more. A municipal and listen, I stumble over things all the time, so I'm not making fun. I just like it because it's similar to Muncie. And instead of saying municipal, she said a municipal. Good stuff. Good stuff. So before we continue on with the Muncie City Council meeting and we go any further with that, I do want to call our attentions for a brief little moment to another meeting that occurred yesterday, and that's the Delaware County Commissioners meeting. And the reason that we're here is because this drone thing happened. Yes. That's great, Kate. Because this was also a topic for our commissioners. And I want you to listen to this for a second.
Save a pretty significant amount of money. So those are the dilemma today is 1 year or 3 year claim. And then we would need to sign 2 documents. One is the fraud warning supplement.
Here we go.
So back last year, middle of summer, the Muncie City Police Department asked if they could do a test for a drone system to be launched. I think it monitors whenever there's a traffic accident or something, they can put it up in the air and keep an eye on things. And we allowed them to do that test last year. And now they've asked to make it at least a semi-permanent installation on the roof of the county building here. And we went through, established a scope of work about how to mount it, not penetrating our roof membrane, making it a ballasted system. The city be responsible for the installation and maintenance and all those things. So that's the proposed language that you have in front of you today. But I believe that we should take a little time and look at this.
I've had a few calls on it, so I agree
What were the concerns?
that if they had talked to the federal administration out at the airport.
Yeah, I don't know that answer, but I don't know if it's even a requirement.
I don't, there's federal guidelines they have to abide by, but
If they go above a certain ceiling, if they stay under a
can't go
certain,
across, I believe, McGalliard. That's what I heard.
yeah,
it's not up to us.
They can't go across McGalliard?
I'll make a motion to table.
You want to, just question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Second, roll call, please.
Commissioner Henry? Yes. Commissioner Brand?
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan?
Yes.
So there we go. What is I'll come back to that in 1 second there, Cecil. So there's the Delaware County Commissioners. What the Muncie City Police Department wants to do, and what was taken before the Muncie City Council a couple 10 hours after this meeting here, was they want to enter into an interlocal agreement. So that is an agreement between the city and the county to do this program. Now, the program is to set up a charging station on the county building for a drone program. That's what it says, a drone program. It didn't say for one drone. It didn't say we want to charge one drone up here and we want to launch one drone off the building. It said for a drone program, a drone base for a drone program. And when I'm reading that, that's what it says. It doesn't say anything else. And basically, there's very little in the resolution. Okay? Now, again, we're going to stop here a second, and I'm going to, I guess, reiterate this for you. That way, there's no confusion here, and everybody will be understanding where I'm coming from. Okay? I am a former police officer. You're not going to find anybody that's more pro-police than I am, specifically pro-Muncie City Police Department. That being said, first and foremost, and both before and after I was a police officer, I'm an American citizen. I'm an Indiana Hoosier. I'm a God-fearing, gun-loving, Constitution-believing, conservative / libertarian / conservative, whatever you want to call it, an American. And while I'm all for keeping our police officers safe, and I'm all for keeping citizens safe, and I'm all for these police officers having the tools they need to have to combat crime and to help when we have people in need, people who are lost, car accidents, car pursuits, shootings, all kinds of things. I know that things like this can be a slippery slope. And Cecil said, what's wrong with this being a force multiplier? Well, that's interesting that you're not the only person that said something like that. First of all, when I was on the police department, as I said the other day before the information about the body cams in the Nick Gawley situation, when I was on the police department, that technology was just starting to come into play. Okay. That was before me. All right. Drones weren't even a thing. It was not something that we'd thought of or were talking about. I'm sure. I mean, there was, Chicago, New York, LA, Miami. They have like helicopters. I'm sure Indianapolis might. Muncie doesn't have something like that, and those are all things that was like, man, that would be cool to have. But, we just didn't have that. And so you've got to do police work the old fashioned way. And I'm all for police departments getting new technology. And, we now use striker fire pistols, and most departments are using Glocks or Glock-like weapons. And we used to use wheel guns. There's a big difference. Officers are using in-car monitors, computers. They used to just use the dispatch, and the dispatch did it all. Technology advances, and you gotta advance with it. but there's a very fine line you have to walk. And I'll be honest, I was very proud of the questions that Roe asked. Roe was asking some very good and important questions. I felt like Nora had asked some very good and important questions to the police chief. I'm very disappointed that she asked her questions last Thursday and the police chief failed to answer her until either Sunday or Monday. Like, he answered her, at the 11th hour. It's like, people can't get that information out. So first and foremost, I have been aware that Muncie's been using drones for a while. I've known that Muncie's had drones for a while. What I did not know was how many drones we had. I was shocked when I found out how many drones we had. For those people that didn't watch last night's meeting, listen, if you watched the meeting or you heard the number, don't answer. Don't answer. But I want to know if there's anybody in here that didn't watch. I want to ask you, let me ask you this. Did you hear the number of drones the MPD had, Kate? So when I tell you that I was shocked when I found out the number of drones the MPD used, can you put a number in? Guess how many? Understand that Muncie is just a little under 75,000 people. There's 110 people on the department. You're saying 20. Okay. Admiral Eric, how many drones do you think our department of 110, maybe 112 officers out of 112, how many do you think we have? I would think they would need more than a dozen. Why have the police been keeping the... Oh, you cut out on your question there, Jackie. Why have the police been keeping the drones? I would think you'd say maybe in the car. Okay, so the Muncie Police Department has 2 drones. We have 2 drones. We have 2 drone operators. When I heard this, I was like, what the hell? So that means when they need a drone, hell, chances are the drone operator is not even on shift. Why do we need a base? Well, let me tell you why I'm worried about this, because a drone base makes it seem like we want to get more drones. I don't know. Maybe we need more drones.
That's why
maybe we
I was
don't.
saying they had 20.
20. Yeah, right.
You don't need a base for 2.
2. Yeah, that's the
You
thing.
need a base if you've got 10, 12, 15, 20. Then you want a base for them. 2?
Well, yeah.
But this has nothing to do with him wanting that building to be their new police station.
Yeah. Why have the police been keeping the drone info so undercover to the public? I'll be honest, Jackie, I mean, that's a good question. I don't think that they have been. Like, again, I want to be very clear and say drones were not a thing as I left the police department and left law enforcement. But just knowing technology and knowing what happens, I would say this. I was aware that Muncie used them. I was definitely aware that it's something that the county uses. And for uses such as we have a missing child and we're putting a drone up and putting it in the last vicinity or whatever, or to use it like when we had the mass shooting during the homecoming weekend. I'm okay with that. Like, that seems okay to me. What it seems makes sense is the officer who's out on the street, the patrolman who's out on the street, parks his car and puts the drone up, and they start doing that. What doesn't make sense to me is that you would have a situation at Madison and 29th Street, and you would either have to have an officer leave the location of the situation and drive to the county building to get it and to operate it and then to fly it back out there. By that time, you've lost a lot of time. Or maybe they don't have an officer drive. They just have someone go to the county building. Still, you're losing time. What would make sense would be to have the drones in the car charged up, ready to go. And when we need them, we can launch them from the car, from the scene right there. That makes sense. That's like what the state police does. Why are we doing different than the state police? That's very, very, very strange. You know what I mean? So I just want to be clear about this. I want to now go on and listen. The other thing is, a lot of damage has been done here in the city of Muncie and elsewhere by some officers who have done bad things. Okay, that just happens. Okay, let's listen to this. Well, we're going to try it. Here we are.
4-26.
I'll make a motion there, dude.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Could I have a point of clarity? Do we need to introduce the resolution, or do we just need to make a motion to adopt?
We don't need to introduce it.
We need an introduction and no, I thought that in the past we have had just a motion to adopt, and because it is a resolution, what's passed, it is resolved. Is that correct?
Yes, I have.
No, GW, I don't believe it would be able to.
We read you somewhere. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, we'll hear.
Thank you.
So Chief, here to speak on resolution 426.
Okay.
Right, yeah, Chief Sloan of Muncie Police Department. I got Detective Sergeant Chris Swanson here with me as well. The problem with drones, we use them all the time, right? But the problem with drones is they're never...
The problem with drones is we use them all the time. That's something he says. The problem with drones is we use them all the time. It's the very first thing he says. The problem with drones is we use them all the time. That's the very first thing that comes out of his mouth. Okay, I want to listen to this again. Here we go.
Here to speak on resolution 426.
Okay.
Right, yeah, Chief Sloan with Muncie Police Department. I got Detective Sergeant Chris Swanson here with me as well. The problem with drones, we use them all the time, right? But the problem with drones is they're never in a state of readiness, right? It always takes...
The problem with drones is we use them all the time, but the problem... So that's interesting. We use them all the time because we got to come back to that. I'm really hitting on that. We use them all the time. But the problem with the drones is they're never in a state of readiness. Okay? I'm going to come back to that.
Takes time to get these things in the air. It depends on if the person that has been assigned the drone is working that day, or whether it's available, whether it's charged. And those are all the things we're talking about. And for the amount of incidents.
So is the person that's got the drone working? If they are working, is it charged? If they're not working, is it charged? Those are some questions. Keep that in mind.
Where we need to use it and can use it, sometimes we're unable to. And that's really what this is all about, is getting this to an area where we can use it on a regular basis. And the only thing we're talking about putting on top of the county building here is a drone base, an antenna, a camera, and a power and or data cords. Okay, so
the only thing that they want to put on the county building is a power base, an antenna, a camera, cords, and one drone, a drone. Okay. So is it one of the two, or will it be a third drone? So will we now have two drones, one that'll be in a car or at a home or somewhere, uncharged apparently, and the other one will be on the county building? Or will we now have two in cars, uncharged, at home, uncharged, or who knows where, maybe ready, maybe not, and then a third one on the county building. So that's a question.
Literally it.
That's it.
We want the
Literally
drone
it.
located at the county building due to the fact that we already have offices and personnel there who can tend to the drone and already have an
We already have offices at the county building. Now, again, I'm aware of this. A lot of people didn't seem to be aware of this. I find that shocking. I find it shocking that the city council was not aware that the City of Muncie Police Department used drones. I find that shocking. I find it shocking that the City of Muncie was unaware that the City of Muncie Police Department has offices at the county building. I think that's going to shock a lot of people. Why do we have offices? I know why we do, but people don't. And this is a problem. This kind of lack of communication is a problem. This is what Dan ran to fix.
local agreement for those offices.
But he's obviously not.
It has the height, the security, the central location, the power, and data capabilities that we need. The main focus of this is to ensure that the drone is charged and ready at all times to assist officers. This will help combat crime, and it will accomplish all the other tasks that we need to do. So, any questions?
Chief, how long has this drone program been in operation?
Probably, I mean, we've been running drones probably 8-10 years.
Say that again.
Probably 8 to 10 years.
Thank you.
Yes, Kate.
And Chief, what are you using for this program? You say the program.
Sure. So we use them for a lot of different things, right? We use them for locating fleeing suspects. We use them for vehicle pursuit mitigation, hopefully, warrant service overview, search and rescue, criminal evidence collection, and crime scene documentation, vehicle crash documentation, officer awareness in dangerous situations and critical incidents. Tactical uses, of course, we like to usually send a drone in a tactical situation to clear an area before we send officers in and risk their lives. Potentially natural disasters and lost children.
Keep that question. Star that. How about some stats on their usage?
Endangered adults, particularly because when you lose an endangered adult in the middle of winter and it's cold outside and you don't know what they left with, you don't know what their condition is, what their mental state is, we need to find them right now. So officers stumbling around in the dark is not efficient. We'd like to use the drone for stuff like that.
I have several, so you can skip me after each, or, get somebody. Okay, so I'm going to ask you this. Who's going to own the footage that you...
Muncie Police will retain all of that stuff, and it should be uploaded. We're working with the drone company now to get that uploaded into Axon, which is where we'd like to store everything, just like our body cams.
Okay, so the vendor... May I continue, Council?
Does anyone else have a question?
Does anybody
I
else?
did,
Can I,
but
may I have follow? So do vendors have access to that? So you store it. Do the vendors have access to that data?
I mean, it's owned by us. I'm sure that at
Like,
some...
can they see it?
He seems put off by her question. He also doesn't have an answer. Don't you think you should know this answer? The problem with Sloan is the problem with a lot of other elected officials and people in government that I have. Sloan feels like, look, I'm the chief of police. Let me just do this, and then I'll tell you about it. Or maybe I even won't tell you, but I'll just do it, and you'll never know about it, so you shouldn't ask about it. And that's the way that a lot of people in government are working, and I'm sorry. The answer is no. Straight away, the answer is no. Yeah, he's got the same. Yeah, absolutely. It's the same. It's the same issue as Dan. It's the same issue as J.D. Prescott. It's the same issue as Matt Kantz. It's the same issue in a lot of ways as Stephen Brand. It's the same issue as the Board of Works and Craig Wright and Mike Gaskell and Braun and just all of these people
use it.
The vendor use it. I don't know if it's uploaded in Axon. I would guess not, because the companies are not
so you're saying
compatible. Yeah.
Thank you. And
I'm speeding it up because it's a 3.5 hour long meeting. Sloan has no specific plan, 8 years, no history of being open with the city government officials. How can the citizenry trust them? Great question.
correct that you have also used drones, both city and county, in high traffic situations to identify where to send help, where to send.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Now, I don't know what county's doing. I can't speak to that, but I do know.
You also
agencies
know where
around
to
the
send
state.
help
I mean,
because of dispatch. I mean, we're acting like there haven't been just a whole decades and decades of policing before drones. You know what I mean?
In Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, all these other agencies are running drones on a regular basis for various projects. Yeah,
sure.
MPD has a SWAT team. They have they have social workers that go out with officers. So they've working towards a crisis intervention team similar to that. I don't know. I haven't heard much in the way of what its stats are because we don't get information like that. They just don't provide that stuff anymore.
Anyone else with questions?
Oh, I do have a lot, but I don't know what this is. So right now, where is this? Where do you keep this now?
we keep them in the cars as the guys or gals run around the city at night. So
we keep them in the cars because at this point, listen, at this point when I'm in the meeting, I'm standing back here by a couple of the kids and by Cameron Grubbs and a couple of the people speaking. I'm still thinking they're getting ready to tell us at some point when somebody asks, like I'm sure someone's going to ask. I'm thinking they're going to tell us, look, we got 75 drone operators. When they're saying like we're keeping them in the cars, I mean, obviously two's plural, so that works. But I'm still thinking they're going to tell us we have a lot of these bastards. Okay.
there are officers that are drone pilots, like Protect Yourself.
There are officers that are drone pilots. Like I know that you can say that when there are two, but I just feel like I would have been like, yeah, we've got two. We've got two drone pilots. I wouldn't have made it sound like there's here's my problem with why I'm saying this. Here's my problem with why I'm saying this, because it's easy to be like, yeah, we got drone officers and they're in the cars. So then they just slowly start buying more and more and more and more. And then in a year or two, when someone says, how many drones do we have? They're like, oh, well, we've got 30. And people are like, oh, well, okay, that makes sense because we've always had 30. We just don't find out that it's something that they've started ramping up really quickly. See where I'm coming at with that? That's important because this is one of those you've got to vote on it to know what's in it type of things. He literally says this at some point here in a minute. I'm going to let him speak and let you hear it. But he's literally saying, like, we don't know what the information is. That you need to vote on this, and then we can get started finding out that information for you. He literally says that in a minute.
When he says that,
yeah,
we have drone officers. If he's being honest, the way to say that, we have a couple of drone officers.
Yes.
And it flows right into the conversation.
It does.
And
it still could mean more or less.
That's being honest. It doesn't make it sound like you've got a squad.
Yeah.
That are all drone
because
pilots.
In all fairness, he's going to say, well, listen, I was being honest. We do have officers. But the way he said it made it. And
when you're talking, you have a police force of 110, though.
Yeah. When they have 110 guys and he says, we've been doing this for 8 or 10 years.
And we've got
officers, and they're in the cars.
We've got like 20 guys that can fly these damn things.
Yeah.
Not a couple.
Yeah.
Chris Swanson behind me here. It's a Part 107 pilot, and he's
look. He's one of them. So that means one of them's in this meeting right now. If something's going on, where's the other one? Is he on the street? Is he at home?
What he does, one of smart kids. So.
Okay, I do have another question.
So, how did Brandon Rudd get behind the chief of police here?
Let's say you sent a drone for a certain thing, right? For safety. And I think technology is amazing. We need to utilize that. Sure. It helps prevent, crime, all that good stuff. But there's certain things I need to process in my head. Mm-hmm. For example, so you send a drone out for a certain assignment. Can footage from that assignment used for different investigation? Like you send the drone on a mission to spy on me, okay?
Okay, well, let's not use the word spy.
Whatever. No,
that's not what we're doing here.
I'm committing a crime in my.
Yeah, let's specifically say spy. Here is what she's saying without saying it, and I appreciate that she's going this way. So, say for example, you have a little girl that ran away from home. She walked out of the door. Happens, parents thought that she couldn't get out. They're sleeping. She was sleeping. They lay down for a nap, she gets up before the parents do. She goes and Houdini's her way out the window or climbs up the chimney and gets out and is now walking around and playing with the bunnies and whatever she's doing. And they freak out and they call the police, and the police are sending the drone up looking for this girl. And then while they do, bing bong, they go over your backyard, and there's nothing bad in your backyard, but whoopsie, while they're in their backyard, their camera just happens to point your window and looks at your pot plant. Now, next door neighbor, who, 5 doors down, the daughter was not gone the whole time. She was actually just under her crib, and they never looked there. And everybody's safe, everything's okay. But now the board detective goes back and says, wait a minute. Admiral Eric had those 2 pot plants in his house. And then now what they're doing, instead of just leaving Admiral Eric alone, maybe they don't even do anything with that. Maybe they do a trash pull on Admiral Eric, or they do a knock and knock, talk, talk. And now that's the problem. That's what Roe's getting at here. Okay.
My back patio, right? My neighbor calls you and say, hey, Roe's doing this. You send it, I am doing this. But then my next door neighbor's doing something else. And then do you go back and look at that to get the
Generally not. So unless it's an exhibition.
Okay, and his answer wasn't no. His answer was generally not. Generally not.
Circumstance, or we have a warrant, we're not going to send it to somebody's house like this.
What if you're not sending it to somebody's house? What if you're sending it out looking for the girl, and it just happens to go over somebody's house?
There's a shooting going on, or there's gunfire or something like that. Yes, we would send it to. But we're not just going to send it over somebody's house.
Okay, well,
yeah,
when you
based
were
on
shooting,
just random calls in.
But once you send a drone on a mission, you collect the data for that mission. What you see around later on will not be brought back for another investigation. Say, oh, wait, at this time we did this. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm just privacy. I mean, there's a fine line between that and privacy.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. One thing I got to say about Rose Selvey is she wasn't born here. Rose Selvey knows what it's like to live in a country where they just kick your door in if they want. So I appreciate where she's going here. This is the most conservative thing Rose done in a long ass time.
No, that's fine.
Thank you.
Great question.
But to be clear, this resolution is about.
But to be clear, I got to get this done for the mayor, and I got to stop all this silliness. To be clear, shut up, everybody.
Storing.
Correct. Yeah.
A platform for storage.
To make sure it's charged all the time and in a state of readiness.
Right.
Okay.
To make sure it's charged all the time and in a state of readiness. That's a very weird statement, because wouldn't that drone be a tool that an officer used? Say, like, how many officers get in their car and don't have their taser charged up and ready to go, and don't have any cartridges? Or how many officers get in their car and have their gun on their side, but they went to the range this past weekend and they plinked around a little bit, and whoopsie, they just don't have any bullets in their gun? Does that happen frequently? No, that doesn't happen frequently. If something is assigned to you as a tool, you have that shit ready to go. I can remember a time that in order to apply to the Muncie Police Department, in order to be a Muncie cop, you had to have a working landline. And if you didn't have a working landline, you wouldn't be hired. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Circling back to something you said you already had many offices in the county building. What?
I didn't say many offices. I said we do have offices.
Now, in all fairness, he didn't say many offices. He said we have offices. We already have offices there. And listen to this.
This is in the county building.
What office, may I ask?
The high-tech crimes unit?
I'm sorry?
The high-tech crimes unit.
Okay, thank you. I just was curious. That's the first I've ever heard of that.
The high-tech crimes unit, ladies and gentlemen, the high-tech crimes unit has been in action for a couple of years, and it's a situation where One of the investigators from the prosecutor's office leads it. His name is Chuck Zimmers, and he's a good dude. And there are county and city officers connected to it. And what that does is, if there is a phone that is, if there's a murder that occurs, say there's a shooting out in the street, 3, 4, 5 people shooting each other, and they all are dead, or there's a shooting, there's a drive-by shooting, and a phone is at the scene, they can take that back to the high-tech crime unit, and they can get a warrant. They can try to go through the process of opening the phone. They have phone crackers, and they do stuff to look through for child pornography and things like that. So it's a good thing. I'm okay with it. And when you have like task force like that, when you have a unit that's made up of multiple people, it's always got to be somewhere. You know, the drug task force was always in its own offices outside, you know, away from City Hall, away from the county building, because, you know, the drug task force doesn't need to be hanging out with a bunch of patrolmen in uniform. That's counterproductive. So it's always going to be someplace, and it's not in City Hall. It's been in the county building. I know it's in the county building. It's not a big deal. It's weird to me. It's a big deal that the council didn't know that. It's a big deal that people are hearing this for the first time. I've known about it, but I know things. I just assumed everybody else did. I didn't know other people didn't. Very strange.
So how many pilots, drone pilots do you have?
Currently, there are 2, but depending on how we do this.
Currently, there are 2. Dude, I'm telling you, my jaw hit the floor. Dude. Listen. It's not MPD having offices in the county building. Here's what this is. There are empty spaces in the county building where there are several computers set up, and these computers have been purchased by money from the county. But basically, it's a 3-way purchase. It's money from the prosecutor's office, money from the sheriff's department, and money from the city police department. And they've all went together, and they've bought these computers, and these computers need to be stored someplace. And so, you know, they could store it at City Hall, and then the county people come down there, or they could store it at the county building, and the city people could go down there, or, you know, something like, or they could do it out at the Justice Center if they had room, where Chuck Zimmer's office is, and then the city and the county could both go there. I don't have a problem with them. It's not like it's the city offices. It's just offices where a couple detectives go and they work with the rest of the people in the high-tech crime unit. I don't have a problem with where that is or what the deal is with that. I have a problem that the people who are paying the bills, the people that are in charge of the fiscal body, just didn't know this. I think that's weird.
There's what's called a certificate of authority, which gives anybody who's trained at the department to do this the ability to fly these things. So,
and I appreciate you responding.
Okay,
to the
so now that changes things. So we got 2 pilots and we got 2 drones, and there's something that allows more people to do it. So how many people are actually flying these things?
There's a lot of questions within the community.
There are a lot of
and
questions.
I think that my concern, and something that I've expressed, is that yes, this is about an interlocal agreement, but to build.
My question here, and I'll kick myself. I kick myself for not asking it, but I want to know, as we sat here that night, how many of those 9 counselors knew that the commissioners had just tabled this? Did they know that they tabled this, or did they not know this? If they didn't know, why?
So we already have the drones. We're not going to be purchasing more additional drones.
right, we've already paid for.
We've already paid for the drones. And Councilperson Selby talked about use of footage. And so, again, there was some comments in your email about cost.
Mm-hmm.
Is there going to be additional cost by putting these there? And you know, where will that come from?
Well, like I said in my email, all this comes from the police department's budget. I have to get approval from you to put it there before I know what the cost is going to be for putting it on top of the building. So there's wires to be run and things like that. Yeah. So.
And follow up for that, sir?
Yes, go right ahead.
Will this come from your 106 fund? Will it come from grants? Because my concern is, at a time when we are talking about hiring freezes and things along those lines for other departments, that if you're going to come and ask for more general fund dollars, and that's going to further make a horrible situation for some of our non-public safety employees. So will this come from funds that are strictly for the police department that cannot
Yes,
be
I don't foresee us coming to you for any funds for this.
Thank you.
I might have missed it, but could you give me an example of what you use it for?
Well, like I said, sometimes we have missing children. Sometimes we have fugitives on the run. Sometimes we have missing adults and things like that. So any of those kinds of situations, those that I read down through earlier, are just a sample of what we can use it for.
Would one of the examples be face identification? Like
No,
maybe.
no, there's no plans for that.
What's to stop that from happening?
Me and policy.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the success rate as so far?
The success rate of, I don't know how to quantify that. Well, I mean, specifically in, say, an ERU situation, a SWAT type situation or a tactical situation, it lets our officers know prior to going in what the layout of the house is, what the condition of the house is, where the suspects might be hiding, which doors are open, which doors are shut, and just what they might encounter when they go in this house so they can plan appropriately and, hopefully prevent us from using any kind of force that's unnecessary or from our people getting hurt.
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
The drone that would be set on the county building then, what's the range and fly time, something like that?
I don't think that's probably something we want to talk about here.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all
Okay.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mr. McIntosh asked question about the facial recognition, and I didn't hear the response. You did
Yeah,
say
no, I have
policy?
no interest in facial recognition for this at this point.
But
There's no
you're
plans
saying
for
that you,
Possible.
okay, I'm sorry, ma'am. Okay, so is there a policy, is there anything written down for
Yeah.
us?
Yes,
Where
it
is
doesn't
Where
necessarily
can I find it?
address facial recognition, but there's no plan for that.
Sorry. I wanted to bring this up because I knew this would come up again. When he was asked about facial recognition, he says, we don't have any plans to do facial recognition. But what does that mean? We don't have any plans now? Will we have plans next year? And he said, they said, well, what would stop that? And he said, me, meaning him, the chief of police, and policy. Well, policy can change, and the chief of police can change, and the will of the chief of police can change. So I don't like that answer. Like, let's listen to this. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, okay, I'm just talking hypothetically here. Hypothetically speaking, police officers have the ability to, if I murder Kate and the police are investigating me, the police can run what's called a triple I, an NCIC IDAX check on me. They can run background and get all kinds of information on me. And that's perfectly legal if there's probable cause, if they have a warrant. But hypothetically speaking, let's say a police officer wanted to get as much information on his ex-wife's boyfriend. Or hypothetically speaking, let's say a police officer was a Muncie City police officer and he decided to, no, let's not even say Muncie. Let's say a Newcastle City police officer wanted to run for sheriff and he was running for sheriff. And he had people that were backing an opponent and they were really talking negatively about him. Could he run this information and get, information that he shouldn't be running on people that speak out against him? What if they're doing that to reporters or commentators? Hypothetically speaking, things happen sometimes that shouldn't happen.
That it doesn't make any sense. He says he wants to use this. The drones get used for finding missing children, for finding old people that wander out of their houses, for fugitives. Wouldn't facial recognition be like one of the key tools you would want to have enabled on a drone for going over crowds to pick out people, to find your fugitive or your missing kid or the old person?
Yeah, right.
But he has no interest in it.
Yeah.
I call bullshit.
Yeah. That's very interesting. That you say that, Yeah. Let's does MPD currently have an established policy for drone usage? Yes. They have an SOP, standard operating procedure. We don't know what it is. We don't know what it is. Let's listen on.
Where is it written that there's no,
This question was posed to us. We aren't even thinking about facial recognition. That's not something that this is going to be used for.
okay.
Right now?
Okay.
Again, if
We're
I
going on
may,
the record saying that's what it's not going to be used for. Okay.
you have used drones for 10
years.
18 years. County has used drones also and continues to.
I'm
We're
assuming,
talking about an agreement just to house, to store.
Right.
And these other issues, of course, are important and interesting for us to know
Right, yeah.
the answers to. But again, this interlocal agreement, this resolution that we're voting on tonight is just for storing these drones. That's it. Okay.
So you mentioned that we needed to approve this prior to you having a number and trying to,
Yeah,
I don't understand why that.
there's always, if you guys aren't going to approve it, I need to look for someplace else.
Sure, but so you have. but
If you're
do you
not
have some
going
kind
to
of number
approve it,
then
I
on
need to
what
look for
this
someplace
actually
else.
would
I'm going to
cost?
do it one way or another.
No, I can't know that because we haven't been into the building and had somebody look at it to determine exactly what that's going to be. So I don't expect it to be an exorbitant number to install, but
Question, how many drones are we talking about? How many do we have and how many do you need? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you give me permission?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry.
He said earlier.
One, just,
What-
so we're gonna do that for just one drone?
yeah, just one drone on the base is all we're talking about. We have other drones, but this is just one drone on the base to make sure that one is always ready at all times.
And do we have a number, how much they?
Wait a minute. So we have other drones? So he said, I thought he said 2. So now he sounds like we have other drones, but it's only going to be doing with, I'm confused. He's not making much sense. How many drones do we have? He just said 2 drone pilots. Now he said, we're going to do this with 1. And he literally just said, we have, listen, what does he say here?
Number 2 install, but
Question, how many drones are we talking about? How many do we have and how many do you need? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you give me permission?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry.
He said earlier.
One, just, so we're gonna do that for just one drone?
yeah, just one drone on the base is all we're talking about. We have other drones, but this is just one drone on the base to make
We
sure.
have other drones. So when is he telling the truth and when is he not telling the truth? And what is the confusion? What is going on here?
So that one is always ready at all times.
And do we have a number, how much they want? Or how much are we gonna be paying for that interlocal agreement? Is there not?
That's what I'm saying. We're going to have to get in there and find out exactly, once we get permission from you folks to get in there and look at it.
Okay,
You see what I'm saying?
thank you. Thank you so much
Mhm.
for answering the questions.
We have questions from the audience, I believe.
I'm sorry.
You're muted, my dude.
Damn it. Are we there?
There you go.
How long have I been talking?
Oh, about 20 seconds.
Okay, sorry about that. So we're going to keep listening to this, but I just want to say this for a second. This is as a point of courtesy for the people that are listening to this that are in the audience. I want people, before you just jump up out of your seat and go to the podium, to crank your head around to the back and see if people are in line, because that was happening at this point. There was a line of people that had been standing up waiting to their turn to go talk, and more people just kept cutting the line because they were getting up out of their seats. Just FYI, just something you might think about.
Real quick, Audie Barber again. This has been approved a long time ago. This is just to house to charge the drone.
Audie, what are you doing,
How
bro?
often are the drones being used at this time? I mean, are they used every day? Are they used just on certain cases and so on and so forth?
Yeah, right.
Again, that goes to availability of the drone, right? We could use it more, but right now it's just contingent on who's working at the time and if the drone is ready to go. So sometimes we have to call people in, which costs more money and it wastes time in critical situations or when we're looking for somebody or something like that. So we could definitely use it more. Not sure the number on the. Oh, it's probably more than that, but I couldn't put a number on it right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tanya Pearson. I'm a resident of Muncie, Indiana. I want to once again thank Councilperson Nora Powell for keeping us all up to date on these resolutions and ordinances and just maintaining an environment of complete transparency. So I was able to read a response from Chief Sloan. He responded this afternoon to an email that Ms. Powell sent to him and stated that regarding Ordinance 426, that Muncie Police already have drones and he hasn't heard any contestation from the public. And I think that's probably because a lot of us didn't know. It's kind of a recurring theme. So I did a little research and the Ball Brothers Foundation did in fact award more than $50,000 to fund the purchase of drones as part of its emergency management initiative in 2021. And this was designed to promote public safety. And I have to say, I'm a proud member of the South Central neighborhood in Muncie. It is a neighborhood that when actually a student recently just said, ooh, that's dangerous down there. And I love
How
my
did that
community. I love
happen?
my neighbors, but I live in a very drug-addled, heavily policed area. And my interactions with the Muncie police, and this isn't an individual issue, this is an institutional issue, because of where I live, have not been wonderful interactions. It's very different when I'm at Ball State and I'm not in a poor neighborhood and treated like a poor drug-addicted person. So 5 years later, after this initial drone program, the most heavily policed neighborhoods are disproportionately impoverished, undereducated, underemployed, and drug addicted. They are not more safe than they were before there were drones. They're certainly not going to be more safe if the Muncie Police invests in a storage facility for one mega drone. I don't really understand. 25 years ago, if you're over 45, you remember a time before the Patriot Act, the creation of the Department of Homeland Security and ICE, and the militarization of neighborhood police forces. A proposed drone base would have been an affront to the Fourth Amendment, our rights to privacy, and our civil liberties. Everyone in this room would be freaking the fuck out. This kind of mass surveillance is so normalized.
Stuff.
What?
As far as things that shouldn't happen, Fourth Amendment, all this fun stuff, check this one out for me.
Okay.
Only on RTV6, Muncie police officers are put on notice as Call 6 Investigates gets to the bottom of the problem.
The Muncie Police Department received a notice of violation after a state review found officers had used their equipment to inappropriately run the name of a man who was not a crime suspect, but a critic of city government.
This has silenced people. I absolutely have spoke to people who've said, I'm out, I'm done. I'm no longer willing to be involved because, I'm afraid.
Chris Bilbrey is a podcaster who can be a thorn in the side of Muncie politicians.
Perception is reality.
And I really want to get into tonight's episode. It's another big one.
His program, Perception is Reality, does not hide his personal outrage for Muncie city government, which is currently in the shadow of an FBI investigation. Bilbrey says after requesting documents about the city council, he began receiving several bizarre texts, which included details on his driver's license. He filed a public records request with Indiana State Police, questioning whether Muncie police officers had misused their computers to run a search on him on a system called hijack.
You can't run. You know, you're not supposed to be running yourself. You can't call me. Can you run this John Doe and tell me if he's, you know, if he's got anything? That's against the law. I can't run Donald Trump. If I run Donald Trump, that's a hit.
A state police review deemed that the Muncie Police Department was in violation of misusing the law enforcement record system.
There's basically a button.
We sat down with Muncie Police Chief Joe Winkle.
I think in these couple situations, they were trying to get information on someone that in that situation they shouldn't have been. There was no crime involved. They weren't investigating a crime, and these people have the right to not have this done to them.
The police chief sent out a memo to all officers on July the 24th. He could not share that internal memo with us, but he says it details the do's and the don'ts so that this does not happen again.
We certainly realize that we were wrong, and we think we've fixed this issue and should never happen again.
Are we on the side of the line that says this is Muncie, Indiana, America, and we can speak out how we want, whichever way we want, and should be left to do so unmolested, unbullied? Or is this the new norm, that you're going to be pulled over, you're going to be targeted, you're going to be harassed?
The notice of violation is among the lowest reprimands a police department can receive in this situation. But how common is this around the state? We'll have more on this developing story tonight on the news at 7.
But Sloan promises they won't misuse this kind of equipment, that they wouldn't violate anything like that. You got anything to add? I mean, this is your baby.
Yeah, I got nothing. I've got nothing more to add about that. That stands for what it stands. That I'll let that stand for the record. So, okay, getting back to the council, we will move on. Yeah, I just want to be very clear. I'm very pro police, but you know, we live in a world where priests and other church officials, I'm not just picking on the Catholics, but all over, molest children. So if we live in a world where the people that are supposed to be helping us get closer to God can molest children, I think that we live in a world where anybody can do anything at any time, whether or not you're supposed to or not. You know, I think people need to be aware of that. Okay, moving on from here.
And the answers questions, tough questions we asked here too. So thank you.
Okay.
And again, I mean, how often are we using these drones to where we need a base to keep them? I don't know why.
I want to hear this guy.
Yeah. Hello, my name's Cooper. First, I just want to echo everything that Professor Tanya said. You know, all that stuff. I just want to repeat that. But I also just want to ask like a few questions and make a few statements. Like, firstly, like what does the world come to where we have the students talking about building crosswalks and making the community safer, but we got the police talking about drones? And what type of world is it where the students come here with more statistics? They have information on the cost from 2 different sources. The fucking police have no clue what's going on. My apologies.
Whoa, language. Whoa. Whoop, 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 whoop. Whoa, language. Everybody relax. Like it got crazy there because that slipped through.
A little heated. Again, I mean, I don't know how these drones are going to be combating crime and why we need to be investing all this money. Again, I mean, we're saying it's going to come from the police budget, but in the resolution, it just says the city of Muncie shall incur all costs. It doesn't say anything about it can only come from the police budget. I think that'd be important to put in there in wording and make it just make it like official that, you know, I'm not my tax money. It's only coming from the police budget. It's going to be used by the police. I think that is a fair ask and a fair thing to put in there. And again, I mean, how often are we using these drones to where we need a base to keep them? I don't know why. How often are we using drones where we need to have a separate building? We can't just keep them in the cars as are. Why can't the police just charge them before they're going to use them, or keep them on standby charged? Yeah. And I mean,
all right, moving on to Audie here. I don't know where Audie
Barber.
from.
Once again, we're missing the point here. They're already using them. They're already using them. Yeah. This is just a point to be able to access the drone faster if somebody elderly, Alzheimer's patient parent is missing, or if there is a kid missing. Lord forbid anybody's kid come missing.
Lord forbid we shoot to the thing that like tries to tug on everybody's heartstrings straight away. Lord forbid we would ever do that. Let's just talk like regular people.
We've all got these things right here that keep very good track of us.
No,
We've all got cameras on them. And they're all recording us all now. Why do you think we're building all these data centers? But the point here is, it's
yes,
not about the
GW.
drones. It's about the charging system that they need to save time on putting these drones up in the air, because they are already using them. They've done told you they've been using them for 8 or 10 years. They're already using them, folks. If you want to stop that, you're going to have to change the law. You're going to have to go back and get some amendments applied, ordinances filed, and stuff like that. This is just a resolution. This is just a resolution. Don't give it no teeth. They're going to do it anyhow. Period. The only thing is, the council would like to know how much it's going to cost to get up on that building and run them wires and put a stand up. That's what it boils down to. It's not about who they're peeking on or who they're looking at. Whatever. It's a cost.
Dude. Listen. I haven't talked to him about this. I don't understand what's happening, but he did have a hip replacement surgery a couple of weeks ago, and they may have kept him under a little too long or something, because something affected something in his brain or something. I don't even know. Don't even know. Maybe they pulled his brain out through his hip incision. Maybe they didn't replace his hip. They replaced his brain. I'm confused. I got to talk to him about this and find out what the hell he's thinking. Maybe we'll have him come on. We can all just dump on him for a little bit, but let's not beat him up too bad. He's injured or something. Something's happening here.
Of how much it's going to cost to put that thing on there. And maybe you guys can table it and say, hey, go get us an estimate. Bring it back next.
Then you can table and do it. No. Let's table it now and be done with it and figure it out. I bet you, man. He's asleep already. He'll call me tomorrow.
Person or a dangerous person or something like that. So, I mean, that's the nuts and bolts of
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Okay, I think the gentleman asked if they had anything in writing. And I think we're kind of putting the cart before the horse here. The purpose of this agreement is set forth the rights and responsibilities of the parties and the housing and operating of a municipal drone base for the city governmental function. This agreement shall create a revocable license only and shall not convey any leasehold, easement, or other property interest.
Okay, so as Detective Sergeant Swanson said, it is just a matter of running the cabling up there and getting a contractor up there to get that estimate. So as soon as we know that, it's what, 25 linear feet, maybe?
So it's not going to be, do you have an estimate or no?
Do what?
Do you have an estimate?
I mean, I'm going to get.
Estimate, yes, estimate.
Yeah, less than $5,000 probably.
Oh, wow, okay.
No.
Thank you.
Is there anything else?
We're talking 5,000. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Evening again, Council. Trying to be quick through this one. I want to start off and say that, like, through the number of conversations I've had with Chief Sloan, like, I have no doubt that he has the benefit of Muncie at heart and everything like that.
Yes.
The problem is that Chief Sloan, unfortunately, we're going to have chiefs after you, and so we have to want. I think what you're hearing from the people are concerns because we haven't been able to have this conversation.
Yes.
Not on any level really, and we certainly haven't had it with the increased militarization of police, crackdowns on constitutional rights that we've been seeing in recent times in the past year. So especially, these are valid concerns, and like I believe that the police have valid, reasons for wanting a drone. And I'm not trying to suggest we don't have a drone, but we have, they're going to talk about missing children and these things that play on our heartstrings and everything like that. Whereas we have the reality that it's possible that they end up being used to surveil homeless camps. Where are the homeless camps around Muncie? How do we get rid of those? But back to what we're talking about, because we are just talking about a resolution. On
We're
whether or
almost
not
done
to-
here,
to
folks.
allow
This was a long
One, I
meeting.
think there are a lot of valid questions, a lot of good questions you all have had, and a lot of good questions from us to where's the money coming from specifically? Do we need an amendment to this? I would ask that we table or whatever you need to do for the resolution, like as if this is just a
Table
first
it.
reading, if it doesn't get passed till next time, we don't have to pass it tonight.
You don't have to pass it tonight.
Right.
I think the term was explode people. We can't explode people. We don't attach guns to them. Let me just read you IC 3359. A law
Listen.
enforcement officer must obtain a search warrant in order to use an unmanned aerial vehicle on or over private property, or to conduct a search, perform surveillance, obtain a photograph, or to obtain a video of private property or of individuals, items, or structures located on private property without the consent of the owner of the affected private property. However, a warrant is not required for use of an unmanned aerial vehicle if a warrant would not be required for a search not using an unmanned aerial vehicle. Okay.
Oh, and so that means we've never had an officer do something they shouldn't do.
I have a couple of just things that I think everybody should be asking. First and foremost, I'm as pro-police and supportive of law enforcement as anybody can get. And I appreciate the chief reading the law, but for citizens to think that there are police officers or there have not been times where officers have done things they shouldn't do, Audie, that does happen. That does happen, okay? Not saying that anybody here on MPD is going to do it. I hope, but we do have to think about that. The other thing is, it's odd to me that we have 2 of these that are in cars. I would have thought we had 10 or 15 or 20 of them, honestly. I was shocked to find out we only have 2. It's strange to me because I'm thinking about this. We're like, well, we want to have a centralized location where one of them is charged so that if there's a pursuit on Broadway and McGalliard and the pursuit's going crazy, we're going to have to send an officer up to the county building to lock this into this thing, start it. Where are we going to be then? They're going to have to chase the car. Where to me, it makes more sense to have this thing in the car, charged up and ready to go. And when we say, well, they might not be charged. Look, an officer's not going to come to work with bullets not in the magazine not in the gun. If officers have these drones in the cars, it should be their responsibility to make sure that they are charged. I don't know whether it's just 5,000 or 35,000 or 1,000 to put this in a centralized location, why we would be spending any extra money to do something that we can't already do. It makes more sense that we would never say, well, let's put the guns at the county building, and if you guys need the guns, go up and get the guns. We would never do that. It doesn't make sense to not have these drones where these officers are when they need to be there. Maybe it's something, and look, I'm not pro-drone. I'm really worried about some of the things that it could be used for in the future. But if it's a question of if we're saving all these children with it and all these elderly people with it, which there are good drone questions, there are good instances where drones can be used. I'm not debating that. But wouldn't it make more sense to have more drones? Maybe I don't know how much a drone is, but couldn't we use that $5,000 and buy a couple extra drones and put them with a couple extra officers in the cars rather than making something with the county building? The other thing is the money is what it comes down to. You guys have had a lot of questions. The citizens have had a lot of questions. I appreciate that the chief responded to the questions today, but that went out on one counselor's page and very few people got to see that. The biggest question here is the council tabled this today. You guys should table this today. We should ask more questions. I know it's just $5,000 that we've been told, but let's just table this, ask more questions, come back next month, because again, this is a resolution. It only requires 1 vote. So it's not like 2 votes and whatever. If you pass it tonight, it's done. So there's no reason that we need to get ahead of the county. What if we pass it, you guys pass this interlocal, and then in 2 weeks when the county meets, they say, no, we're not going to do it. So why don't we maybe back up? And you guys could get with your counterparts on the commissioners, talk with them, find out what the issue is, and let the public know. Maybe if we had more knowledge, if the people had more knowledge of what was going on, maybe they wouldn't be as afraid, or maybe we still need to just say no altogether. Thank you. Bye.
Yes. Yeah. I get what you're saying there. Absolutely.
Sam Johnson.
And
Muncie.
I just I'm trying to hurry through this now because I know we're getting close. It's been a long one. Look at
last time I'll be up.
So he says last time I'll be up.
We've operated it for 8 to 10 years without any complaints, without getting sued, without wrecking into anybody, without having any problems whatsoever. Okay, this is about putting a drone on top of a building. It has nothing to do with how we're using it. Okay, I'm here to tell you, we don't track the numbers of times that we use it and what for. That's not what this is all about. If it is used,
why do we not do that? Shouldn't we do that? Wouldn't it make sense that we would do that? You started the meeting off by saying we use them all the time. We use it all the time. The problem with drones is, and we use them all the time. The problem with drones is when we need them, we can't use them because we only have 2, and there's one here and there and there and whatever. But the problem is with drones, we use them all the time. We don't keep track of how we use them. We don't use them that much. We have no idea.
In the prosecution of somebody, it's put in a report. Okay.
Okay, great.
It's just not.
What happens when we use drone footage in the prosecution of somebody that's built a case because we were using it in another situation, but because we were using it in that situation, we were able then to build a case against somebody else in another situation? That's what I'm concerned about.
I think we've gotten in the weeds here. So
we've
that's my
gotten
opinion.
we've gotten in the weeds, but here's what you need to know.
If you guys don't want us to put it on top of the county building, well, no, I'll find someplace else to put it, I guess. But
if you don't want it where I want it, vote no, and then I'll just put it someplace else because I'm going to do it either way, is what he just got done saying there. Vote. So what I would have done as a council person is I would have said, okay, then no. Find someplace else to stick it, and I can tell you the first place I'd tell you to stick it.
That's where I'm at with it.
Audie's trying to, I don't know, like Audie's joining the police department, I think.
A lot of points have been raised while we're sitting here.
So FYI, they vote to table it. It was cut out. Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I did that because something that can be requested, like body cam. Yeah. That's very important too. So they do vote to table it. I'm happy they voted. So this was a big win for the citizens of Muncie. I'm very happy that they did that. They tabled it, and now we go on to public concerns.
Yes.
Would it be possible, not dealing with this resolution, but to send the use of drones? Can we send that to committee?
This was a big cluster. Yeah, really. All right, hey. Stopwatch.
Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you for listening to the people. I hope maybe this was a lesson that the people will stand up and speak. Hopefully from now on, you won't have to be beat over the head to do the right thing. But I don't hold out much hope. I think that you probably will have to be. So just, I don't know, consider it, because doing the right thing is not that hard. I do want to say, kind of give a word to the council. Just because the council president says this is not a Q&A doesn't mean when your constituents, which are your bosses, stand up here and ask questions, any one of the rest of you, if he doesn't want to ask questions, you guys are always free to. He doesn't lord over you. You all have the same power. And I just wanted to kind of give a status update, because it's something we've been talking about. I only sent 3 emails to Council President Jeff Green this time, and he finally responded for the first time in 6 years or however long he's been up there. But we didn't get anywhere on it. He responded and didn't want to take a phone call. And since I guess this is my time to speak and you can't stop me or your question or whatever, I'll say, just call me. When I give you my number, you don't have to be afraid. Stand behind the words you tell me. I don't always record phone calls, but as a member of media, sometimes I do. So I guess it's like Russian roulette. You pick and choose if you call and if I record you. And I guess what I would say is don't tell me lies and you won't have to worry about it. The other thing I'd like to say is, lastly, we talked about the reason the rules got changed and all this was because 2 businesses left. Apparently, I was told that by Republican Chairman Tim Overton, and apparently it's been asked of the mayor, and the mayor said, no, everything's going great and wonderful. So my question is, who's lying? Is the mayor lying? Is Tim Overton lying? Or Tim said that this idea came from Jeff. So is Jeff lying? Is Tim lying? Or is Dan lying? I'd like to get to the bottom of that. You guys might not answer me now, but I think it's something that we need to get to the bottom of. Somebody told a lie and it's been corrected, but I'm still going to be digging into the lie, and we're not going to be okay until we figure out, was Tim Overton lying? Was Dan Ridenhour lying? Or is Jeff Green lying? Thank you.
That's what I had to say. Oh, okay. Here's
Mr.
Scaife. Scaife comes up with another quick little ditty here.
Mr. Green, you did it again, man. You said you weren't going to change any rules, then you said no questions. First I've heard of that one. So that's a new rule. So I'll remind you, House Bill 1338 states, no changes can be made, or any rules that are made have to be made by the governing body, not one person.
I love he's getting a lot of mileage out of
So the fact that you
1338.
say we can't ask questions on public comments. That's never been said before. So if that's a change, the governing body has to do that. That was signed into law March 2024 by Governor Holcomb. So that's the law. So the fact that you tell me I can't ask questions, it's illegal. That's wrong.
Okay,
I know
moving
I've
on.
said a lot tonight. Hard to believe there'd be more. I did have a couple things. First thing is that because the next meeting you have is on April 6th, April 6th is the deadline for people to register to vote if they want to participate in the primary. So I want to make sure that people go to indianavoters.in.gov to register to vote online and get registered before April 6th or by the end of April 6th. I had a question about board appointments and how you do things, just something that could be worked in. But I've noticed that it's kind of like people get chosen beforehand, that we're going to get just nominated because you met them. I would like to see some kind of a procedure to where like people could turn in, like, hey, we know that the board for this is coming up and you can turn this resume in or come up and present themselves. And then you get to pick from those people, kind of thing. I did have a request in that I don't know that there's any policy that requires the communications from the city to happen within a certain amount of time to the public. But I've submitted APRA requests back in October for things that came up with the budget, October and November, and have not gotten anything back yet. So I don't know if that's something that the council can do to kind of codify or get with the mayor about like, hey, you got like 45 days in order to get back with the public when they make an APRA. And then back to what Janetta said on Senate Bill 285, just for
I want to say there, Cameron, if you're out there, have you ever filed a complaint with the Indiana Public Access Counselor? And if you have, you just need to start doing it more. If you haven't, get a hold of me and I can tell you what you need to do with that, because that's what I do now. I don't even spend time talking about it. I talk to you guys about it, but I don't talk to them. I give them 30 days. If it's an easy find, if it's something that I'm requesting that's been emailed, or it's a paper or document or video that's been out within this year, I give them 30 days. At the end of 30 days, if they have not emailed me and told me a reasonable reason why I don't have it and that they're working on it and I'll have it soon, if they just blow me off or they don't have it, I forward a complaint to the public access counselor and I let them deal with it. Now, that takes a long time and it's a bunch of shit and work, but if we're already not getting the things, you might as well at least be filing complaints. So, and there's not a lot of teeth to that, and there's not a lot of shit that happens with that, but it's better than nothing, because, I filed a bunch and they've all came, a lot of them have come back in my favor. And I'm getting ready here in the very near future, depending on what happens based off of a couple, to possibly sue if a complaint comes back in my favor. So you just, it's one step forward and 35 steps backwards always when it comes with record requests and what goes on. So that's just something that I thought Kate brought up, and I thought that would be a good idea. So, all right, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Also, your videos show I talk far more with my hands than I already thought I did. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so do I. You just got to, something like, fuck it, it just happens. It is what it is. All right, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the meeting. Hey, there's still a lot of work to do, but this shows that the people can overcome. It's happened. It happened with this situation. It took like 2 or 3 meetings. It happened with the whale sustainable product. Here's what I want to say. I hope that these people don't just go away now. I hope that they stay involved. We're going to lose some of them because people just like the drama of it all. That's what happens. Oh, something crazy is going on. We better get involved. But I hope that we keep some of them. I hope they stick around. I hope they stay involved. And I want to put a call out there. I'm like the only conservative that speaks at these meetings. Everybody else is like liberal. I know that we have some more conservatives out there that might not be a Republican in the party, but you're just conservative of here. Don't even call yourself conservative. You're just somebody that wants personal freedoms and to be left the hell alone, and you don't want the government screwing shit up. Come out. come on out and participate. And let's make sure that our local governments don't screw us. All right. You guys have a good rest of your evening. I do want you to remember tomorrow is going to be a big show. It'll be more video on the Nick Gawley incident. Remember, unfortunately, after the beating, the use of force incident within the Henry County Jail, he was in the hospital on life support for nearly a month. And unfortunately, he passed away. He passed away on Friday, February 27th, as a result of his injuries and illnesses that resulted, in my opinion, from the neglect of the Henry County Sheriff's Department, and quite possibly as a result of the use of force that they used on him on Friday, January 9th. So we're going to have a pretty big show tomorrow showing an important video or two. So tune in tomorrow at 9 p.m. It'll be another big show. God bless each and every one of you. Take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. And I'm going to do literally everything I can to be at the Board of Works meeting tomorrow, because we got to welcome Alan Wisely, and we got to find out some things that are going on, because we need to start looking into what's happening there. So you guys take care. Good night. God bless. And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.